how to actually set a proper goal, why it matters so much. A lot of people will say that they don't know what they want. Truth is that they do. More financial abundance, more time freedom, just going into your imagination. Hey, if I could have anything at all, what we have to do is get back to that true essence, writing out what you would want. You need to set an exact date to, if we could have anything, what would we truly want out of life? The reason that you're not living the life that you want to right now is because you don't have a clearly defined goal and a system or process that will help you move towards that goal every single day. Yes, it sounds simple. Yes, it is as simple as that. Most people don't understand the magnitude of how important goals are in their life. And because of this, most of society wanders around aimlessly, not understanding what they actually want, even though it is within them. They've never taken the time to face it, and therefore getting caught up in their day-to-day tasks of what they have to do without ever moving the needle towards the life that they are called to somewhere within them. This leaves most people aimless, wondering why they don't feel happy, why they're stressed, or why, again, time is passing and they're looking back wondering why they're still so far from the life that they really want. All of this comes down to proper goal setting. So today we're gonna break down how to actually set a proper goal, why it matters so much, and the beginning stages of a system that you can put in place that will actually move you towards that goal. Now, to start off, a lot of people will say that they don't know what they want, but the truth is that they do. If you sit with it and think about what you want out of your life, there's an essence or feeling within you. And the more you sit with that essence or feeling, the more information you will get about it, the more clarity that will come out. So there's usually some sort of feeling that you want to fulfill, and there's an experience or experiences that will result, or that you think will result in that feeling. And that is the perfect place to start. You know, to break it down, a lot of people want more financial abundance, more time freedom, sometimes location freedom, or the ability to do what they want or love day in and day out. And when a lot of people go to define or set goals, they'll start tying their own narratives and own misconceptions to it, which will hold them back from properly just setting a goal that's aligned with what they actually want. So it's very common for people to want a certain financial goal, but then they tie all of these narratives to it that it requires struggle or hustle or hard work or sacrificing time with their kids. And I'll tell you right now, all those are stories that you have consented to. There is no actual truth in them. And I know this because I'm surrounded by successful people all the time who are multi-millionaires, have more time, work way less hard than the general public, all because they've sorted out these things in their mind, set proper goals, and taken the time to align their inner game with that goal until it is their reality. So there is a process of sorting through these stories and narratives along the way to the goal. But when it comes to first setting a goal that we can therefore start that process of inner work to align with, we have to detach from these stories and narratives and everything for long enough just to get down to, if we could have anything, what would we truly want out of life? And it's funny because although this would sound easy, just going into your imagination and getting to think about, hey, if I could have anything at all, what would I want in life? It's actually very hard for a lot of people. The reason it's so hard for people is because we've been so heavily conditioned by society, not only about these narratives of it being hard, but to think in these very specific and certain ways, and thinking outside of that isn't normal. And because of that, a lot of our imaginations have been suppressed. Just think about when you were a little kid and anything that you want, you could go into your mind and experience. I live in a neighborhood with little kids where they're literally running by me, not even seeing the physical reality because they're so engulfed in their own imagination. And so in the early stages of setting a goal, what we have to do is get back to that true essence of being able to open up our imagination without the conditioning or the limitations that we've accepted from the general public. Now, if you're serious about this, I would write this question down and spend some time with it. The question that I love to ask is, if I had a magic wand and I could give you any kind of life you want, like literally anything, and you could just have that life. There's no struggle, there's no strain, there's no sacrificing health or time with your family, you could have any kind of life that you want. What would that life look and feel like? Actually take some time and go pen to paper on this idea. I would say write out like 2 or 3 pages at a minimum. Big pages, not the little pages, and spend some time with that. Now, like I said, there's a good chance that you'll be stopped from even wanting to write it down. But take the time, just detach from your self-image, what you believe you're capable of, what you think is possible. Detach from these ideas of it requiring struggle or strain or stress, and just write down, if I could give you any kind of life you want, what would that life be? If it is really hard, an exercise you can do before that is even just taking out a notebook again and writing out what you would want. Anything that you would want. No conditions or questions of if it's possible attached to it. Write out whatever it is. And included in this, it can be material, it can be relationship based, it can be feelings, literally all of it. When you've written out 3 to 5 pages of that, it'll be very easy to go into writing out almost like that vision, if you want to think about it like that. Now from here, you've gotten an understanding of what you actually would want. And you could see that it already was within you. And it's just these narratives and this conditioning from society that's been caked up over top of it and holding you back from thinking you can have it or making any movement or real action towards setting a proper goal towards achieving it. This is where you can start to set a goal. You can reverse engineer from this vision of this life that you really want. When I set goals, I typically set goals for 1 year to a year and a half or 2 years at the max out. Because if you set it too far in the future, you're putting too much separation between yourself and that goal. So it's very important to set a goal that you start moving towards every single day starting now. When it comes to setting that goal, I like to follow Bob Proctor's framework of the A goals, B goals, and C goals. A goals, Bob Proctor would say, are goals that you've hit before. Right? He uses the example of a car, right? I had a Mercedes-Benz. I wanted to buy the new Mercedes-Benz. And so that's my goal. The thing is, I've bought a Mercedes-Benz before. So it's just a different formulation of the same thing. B goals are goals where you can logically see how you would be able to hit it. Another mentor of mine put it in the way of addition goals. So if you made $500,000 last year, if you do X, Y, and Z this year, it's very probable that you'll be able to hit 550,000, right? So it's your previous results plus some, if you want to think about it like that. Very logical, makes sense. It's very easy for you to wrap your head around. C goals are the type of goals that Bob Proctor liked to set. These are the goals that me and my clients set in our lives. This is, again, 1 or 2 years out, and it is a goal that is a multiplication of your current results. With income, it's very easy because it's measurable, but I would say usually 5x to 10 to 12x. I'm serious about that. 5x to 10 to 12xing your income within 1 to 2 years. Now, the beauty about a goal like this is that it forces you to grow. And this is how a goal should be set. You shouldn't be setting a goal that you think is realistic. And the truth of it is, when you first set that goal, it should scare you. You should have no clue or understanding of how you would hit it. You should have a ton of growth to even be able to see the kind of plan or steps or person that you would need to become to be able to experience that kind of goal. And this is where the true magic and growth is with a proper goal. You have to set a goal that is big enough and means enough to you that forces you, requires you to grow as a person. Now, this is fun and everything, but what is the next step? Because if you just set this goal and you don't have a date and you don't have a process to actually get to that goal, then you're still lost at the end of the day. So what you have to do is you have to stick to a framework that will actually allow you to do the inner work to be able to become one with the kind of person who naturally produces that goal. So I'll give you the beginning steps of what you need to actually do to be able to input that system to help you stick to that goal. The first thing that you need to do is you need to write down a goal statement. You need to clearly define what that goal is, and you need to set an exact date. You need to get very specific about these two things. how much money you want to earn through what expression and by what date. Now, this often stresses people out and will give them this pressure to go perform. But here's the thing, that date that you put down is an agreement that you make with yourself and with the universe, that you are going to step into the person who naturally produces that goal day in and day out. Until that date, you will do the inner work to close the gap between how that person thinks or how that person operates or how you think that person would think or operate and how you think and operate today. Now, obviously, this is an inner game you're playing. This is the emotional reconditioning of all of those narratives, what you believe about yourself, what you believe about your capabilities, your skill set, your specialized knowledge within whatever expression you want to fulfill that goal. And as I said before, you're not going to be that person at first. This time period is your commitment to developing yourself day after day to being the person who has all of the beliefs, skills, and knowledge to be able to fulfill that goal. So it's important that you actually stick to it. This is why I say a goal statement. We actually write goal cards, me and my clients, comes from Bob Proctor's vein of work as well, where you write the date. You write, I am so happy and grateful now that, and you write it out as if it has already happened. And you laminate it and you can take that card around with you all day, every day. This reminds you of who you're stepping into every single day. This holds you to that commitment that you made to yourself. And this is the time process where you don't question, you don't wonder, you don't doubt, you just step into the development of whatever you need to do to become that person until that date. The second step, in my opinion, is the rewiring of your mind. As I said, one of the biggest things that you're going to be doing during this time period is rewiring who you believe yourself to be and all of your core beliefs to be in alignment with not only the goal, but with the laws of the universe. Now, this is a deep, deep topic that I can't get into in this short video here today. I will say that's a lot of what we do and what we teach here at Avenus Consulting. If anyone is curious, head to Instagram at Adam Avenus. You can shoot us a message. We'd either be happy to send you guys a free training or even hop on a call and see if that's something that's aligned for you to actually learn how to go through this process. And the third part of this system that I think you need to implement to be able to actually move the needle forward day in and day out is getting some form of accountability or an environment of people around you who will hold you to being that person, who will hold you to your commitment to that goal, who will push you and challenge you day in and day out and can help facilitate the growth required to being able to experience that goal rather than doubt you and tear you down and question you if you're doing the right thing or if you're capable of it. You need an environment that fuels the fire within, not an environment that dampens it or puts it out. Now, I will say this topic goes so much deeper than what you've seen here today, but just these basic first steps of what I've told you will allow you to set a big goal that requires growth and puts the beginning stages of a system in place for you to move forward towards it. The more time that you spend thinking about that goal, building out the scenes and image in your mind of that goal, the more that the path before you will show itself. Because I'll tell you right now, you aren't meant to know how it's all gonna come to fruition. The more time you spend in the vibration of that goal, developing yourself and taking steps towards it every single day, the path will unfold before you. Now, as I always say, don't just take this as a piece of information that you watched today. Do something with this. Set a serious goal and put what we talked about today in place. And shoot me a message when your life has changed to tell me about how you're experiencing your dream life or getting closer to it because you actually took the time to implement. See you guys next time.